Hello, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this edition of my show, Oge, where we basically celebrate the best that Africa has to offer. Now, whether or not you agree, some of the best PR that this nation has received in the last 10 to 15 years has come from our music and our movies. Not only do they continue to dominate the African continent, we've managed to export it to the four corners of the entire globe. Now, on today's show, we will be profiling two individuals who dominate the Nigerian music industry. And what makes them so special is not only the sweetness of the sound that they make, but also the humanity and compassion that they bring to everything that they do. Now, today's episode excites me particularly, and I hope that it will excite you too. So don't go away. Welcome back. Now, our first profile is on a lady that can only be described as a diva, but in a good sense of the word, sans the bad attitude. Boy, has she come a long way since her days as a backup singer for the likes of P Square.
My body that's with me. The love where you give me that make me color. So my name is Waje aka Waje. I'm a musician. The first time I was on a collaboration, which was Do Me featuring me, P Square rather featuring me, I think that would be that was 2007, I think. If I could project a decade ahead, I didn't see all of this happening, to be honest. Yeah, I knew I wanted some sort of success as a musician. I didn't know how I didn't know how it would happen. I didn't know when or where, my first break would come from. But looking back, I definitely know that I didn't see all of these things that I have achieved and the things I'm yet to achieve as possible. One of the biggest challenges I had was financial support because rewinding back to those days, when I featured on P Square's track Do Me, I was signed to a record label. And this record label, they discovered me in church and all of that. And they had so much faith in my voice and, the brand and how I looked, because all of that is intertwined. And unfortunately, we came out with a few tracks, one or two tracks, but that was because I was living in the East at the time, I was in UNN. So we came out with Claire, which the chorus is, Claire, make room for me. Claire, I want you and about to it. Ooh, very. And I'm thinking about okay, so you really did that song. And at the time, I think he was so passionate about putting me out there, but really didn't have the machinery to. So we tried, a few collaborations, partnering with a few people. We'll go out and they say, oh yeah, this is my girl, Waje. She's an amazing person. I remember the first time I came to Lagos with him, it was to perform on a show that Storm Records at the time had. And that was the first time I met D'banj, because I was the one who opened the show and nobody knew who I was. But because I waited so long to come out and nothing was really happening, I decided to take matters into my own hands and I left the record label. And, I just started looking for ways to, get myself out there. So financially, I was not there. I had a few people who supported, but it was just basically with heart to tell me, Waje, you can do this, but not really cash, and sometimes is the most fundamental thing when you want to start a business. And then another thing was I became a shadow of anybody that was great as a female artist. So I was never the go-to person. I was never the person that you sit down and think of, Waje is an amazing person, an amazing artist, let's call her for this show. It was, if you don't get this person, then maybe if Waje is not busy, you can call her, that kind of thing. So I was basically living in the shadow of any female artist who was really out there and not the first person anyone will call. I think it started from 2012, really. You know, that I would tell you that's when my career really started. Because at the time, I met a young lady called Oma. And I had a meeting with her. She used to work with Red Media. That's Adebola Williams. She used to work with them. And she just wanted to start her own PR company. So I called her and we had a meeting. And she told me, she had done a presentation and told me everything that was wrong with my brand. First of all, that, you know, sometimes for people to see you, you have to be seen separately, you know. So she started giving me all those pointers and things that I probably didn't think were that important as a business, as a brand, you know. And then I started working with a consultant at the time, that was Godwin Tom. And he also, you know, so both of them had the same ideas. And I just guessed that since they had the same opinions about me, probably that's what my audience has, and that's why I've really not been able to be Waje without living in the shadow of somebody else. So we had to make strategic moves. You know, for example, I would go to. I'm a very friendly person, and you know I'm quite friendly with a lot of female artists, and they are friendly with me as well. So there were times when you know we'll all go out together, and you know it was fun. But I said, okay, because I love my friends, what I'll do is I will show up to the show alone instead of in a group. So that way, I'm doing my red carpet interviews alone instead of in a group. Because, you know, it's natural when you see 4 female artists together, it's a natural thing for you to want to interview all of them together. So there was never really a time when you see Waje without seeing this person or that person or that person. And I'm sure it was also affecting their careers as well. That is my advice to a lot of people. Sometimes, you know, in a business, yeah, you can have a lot of people who support you, but you get to a point where you have to sit down and say, I have to look for pointers, 1, 2, 3, 4 things that make me unique, and sell those things. So at the time, while the publicists and Godwin were doing what they were doing to help me, you know, be Waje, I decided to work with Miss Modish as well. So Miss Modish, she's a stylist, and she said, okay, you know what? There are 4 things about you that we've noticed as a brand. 1, you're not a sample size. So naturally, people would think that you're not sexy enough. So you have to draw people's attention to being that woman, you know, and comfortable in your skin and your size and everything that's about you. I love working out because it's a way for me to relieve my stress, you know. So I started working with Uzi and we started showing changes. So it was evident. So I carried my fans through that journey.
See, it's that day here, my body that's with me. The love where you give me, they make me color. Boy, make this promise, you never leave me. The love where you give me that silver. Oh, my baby fine. Oh, yeah. Oh, the rock gonna go. Oh, yeah. My baby sharp. Oh, yeah. I love her.
I'm not that much of a critic or judgmental person. Like, I have my opinion, but I'll just keep it to myself. So with The Voice, I don't know if it was deliberate, but I knew that I had been in that position before. I started with advance warning with MTV Base. And when I didn't win that money, I cried. Because it was 7 million naira. I could have rented a house for my mom at the time because we were all squatting. You know, I could have paid my daughter's school fees. So I know what it is to stand and wait for 4 people to decide whether you're good or not. You know? So I didn't want to be the person who they say, oh, so she doesn't even think I have it. So for every time, I made sure that I critiqued their work and still made them feel like they had it. Because if you're on that platform, that means you have it. I'm a little bit very careful with acting because music is my first love. And I don't want to, because it takes as much energy to be an actor as it is to be a musician. You know, I remember the first time I was on set for a movie called Tunnel. I actually tweeted, I was like, oh boy, anybody we talk say actors for this country, you know, they try, yeah? Person needs to. Because, you know, you can, it's easy to sit down and watch and say, oh no, why did her eyebrow go like this? Why did, you know? But when you're there and you have to wear the character in the midst of all the things that you have to make possible, just because you believe in that profession. It's a total ball game. It's an entirely different conversation. There's something that I'm a strong believer of. I believe that iron sharpened iron, you know? Because people always say that women, we are always at each other's necks and we don't support each other. But you never really know how much you're going to get just sitting back and watching how somebody does their own business and learn from it. When I started as a musician, I didn't care how I looked. I would go to ShopRite with hairnets and slippers. Any big deal. But I realized that for me to be successful, I have to sell aspiration. And when you do that, you know, naturally you embody that person that you say you are. So for young people, who are you? Really, that's the first place. What does your brand represent? How are you adding value through your music to your society? For the young ones, that's really where I concentrate on, because you attract who you attract what you are. And naturally, people will gravitate towards you because of your music and your brand. And then the corporates cannot deny that you're adding value. You know, sometimes you see artists, they're on billboards and you see this and you see that. But there are some artists that they've carved a niche for themselves to the point that when the country wants to take a very huge positive step, they know these are the ones to call. You know, and then your profession goes, you know, it has a longer existence rather than you just being, I'm just a musician. I want to blow. I need fame. Because fame will go. But then what do you stand for? So really, that's really what I try to tell the young ones. You have to believe in yourself 100 times over that you can do it. So I know that for me, I'm more comfortable with Broadway, maybe because I'm giving with musicals rather, because maybe I'm given the ability to sing, or you know, the freedom to sing while I'm acting, and then it's for every time you're on stage you get better, you know, rather than motion pictures where you have to. I haven't got into. I'm not that great an actor yet to get to that that stage that you are. I never reached it. I never even scratched the surface. So, yes, I definitely want to do more. You know, I have done a couple. I was on Euro, and I really hope that I can get to do more. If I could do one thing to fix Nigeria, I'll make sure we have 24 hours power. I would never kill someone. Style is comfort. 3 things that can impede one's journey to success would be laziness, procrastination, and dishonesty. Fashion flop, just make sure you have a very good bra for a woman that's endowed as myself. My honest opinion about Nigerian youth is that we need to do more for our country than talk. My personal philosophy of life, I believe that life is very short to people that need it and really long to those that love and show love.
Now, I don't know about you, but I simply love everything about Waje. I mean, her sense of style, her grace, her compassion, the way she handles her mentees on The Voice Nigeria, and that voice, pure molten gold. See you after the break. Now, our next profile is on a young man who, up until very recently, could be considered one of Africa's most sought-after bachelors. No, ladies, Not anymore, he's been taken off the market, but that doesn't make him any less desirable. Not only has this individual made absolutely beautiful music for many, 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 many years, he's also contributed to the careers of many a successful Nigerian artist.
Mastercraft on the beat.
My full name is Olubankole Wellington. My job description is a singer, songwriter, record label executive, actor now, director, producer, all-around creative businessman. How about that? Let's go with that, creative businessman. When I came back, I was working on an album called Mr. Capable. And at the time, I remember very clearly 50 Cent had blown up in Yankee, and he used to do these mixtapes before his album would come out. So he would take popular songs on the radio, change them into something funny, and then, release them just as promo. So I said, oh, this would be cool. Since I'm trying to move back to Nigeria, I'm going to do the same thing and take popular songs and convert them to, Nigerian remixes. So Ebute Metta was actually supposed to be the first of 10. I didn't anticipate Ebute Metta doing what it did. I just thought I was having fun. It was just a little nice way to promote myself and introduce myself to people who didn't know me. But it kind of blew up and overshadowed even me. So people almost didn't even really want to hear anything else that I was doing. They were just like, come and sing that song and go. The reason I say, yes, I did anticipate this is because I dream very big. So in comparison to my dreams, I'm not where I want to be. I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be an actor, believe it or not. I used to write and direct my school plays at certain points in my educational life. I wanted to be an artist. I used to be very good at drawing. I wanted to be a businessman, which I guess I am. So I wanted to be a lot of things. And in that respect, yes, I am living my dreams too. The people I look up to in the music business are the moguls in the business, the Jay-Z's and the P. Diddy's and the Dr. Dre's and the people who took the same music that everybody else is doing, but were able to do so much more with it. So that was so EME was always my plan. It was always my plan to sign other people. It was always my plan to branch out into different ventures. Hard work, talent, uniqueness, creativity, a willingness to learn, a spirit that's ready to learn, and somebody that just has unyielding self-belief and, things of that nature. So I would say probably about the same thing as anybody else in that position would look for. But it's just the combination of it and knowing when you feel like you've seen something that's special. I think for me, the key is always trying to be special and unique and trying to find people who I feel are special and unique in their own way as well. A lot of times you meet an artist or you see unsigned artists and you can hear who they're sounding like. You can hear who they're patterning their music or their image or whatever about. But I tell artists all the time, if you spend so much time and energy trying to be someone else, when people are looking for that thing, they'll still go to the person you're copying. So it's better off trying to create your own lane. So I've always looked for people who I felt like were doing that. In actuality, what EME is planning to do, which we've kind of been working on the structure for it, is we actually are branching out and growing as a company in the sense that we will no longer be restricting ourselves to just musicians. Because I feel like some of what I've done with my own career and some of what I've done with artists that we've been able to help, I can do for people who aren't necessarily singers. So in the next year, you'll see us expand into being a full-on talent representation agency that focuses more on management and strategy and stuff like that. So it'll be musicians and actors and OAPs and maybe even athletes, kind of branching into the sports agency business as well. So we're vamping up operations and you'll see us kind of operate on a much bigger scale. In the current scale and in the current setup that EME has, I've never wanted to have maybe 2 more than 2 or 3 artists at a time, period. Just because I feel like when you sign on too many people, your resources that are already stretched become stretched incredibly thin, and you're not able to do as much for any singular person. And unfortunately, in the business that we're in, when the artist blows up, it's the artist's credit, but when it doesn't, it's the label's fault. And it just so happened that my first 2 guys that I signed, Wizkid and Skills, were both guys. It wasn't on purpose to say it must be a guy or I'm trying to actively avoid female talent. I just happened to find 2 kids that I thought were awesome, and thankfully they've both gone on to become very successful, so it justifies the decision. Since then, I've only signed 2 other artists, and that's Shady and Neola. There are things that come with, having a female artist that just don't come with a male artist. The expenses are a little bit more, Me, I wake up in the morning, I shave my head, I do my beer myself, and I hit the road. That's it. Females, you got to talk about styling and hair and makeup, and, there's definitely a different set of challenges. But it's not something that I would ever shy away from, because even with all of those challenges are the same worldwide, and some of the biggest artists in the history of the world are female. So if you're avoiding a female artist, then, it's to your own detriment. What I think is the greatest thing that an artist can do is find yourself and stay true to yourself regardless. Did I expect my movie debut to be so earth-shaking? I like earth-shaking. Man, again, it's the interesting, I guess, conundrum or whatever, or the comparison between what I dream and what I expect to happen, and then how it all kind of executes and plays out. I do want to end up as one of the greatest filmmakers from our side of the world. Did I expect that the first film that I'm playing a role in would do the numbers that it's doing? Honestly, probably no. But I think that everybody who signed up to that project knew that it had tremendous potential. I think from the writing of the script to Kemi being the kind of creative director that she is, to the casting, and you kind of already knew that we were on the cusp of something great. And to be honest with you, I think where my expectation, and probably most people on the film's expectation or desire, was to set the new record. But it's exciting, man. It's a blessing. I'm honestly not the worrying type. I'm the type that just sees what I want and I just go for it. That's how I've always been, I take calculated risks, but risks nonetheless. So for me, this is great. This is not something to shy away from. This is something to own and step out in front of, and then let's put this together again and do another great film and another great film. That's where my mind is. My end goal is to be a writer-director. Even if people who watch my music video career will know that I'm into that. I'm into telling stories and creating beautiful visual. The most successful, relevant directors in the world are mostly over 50. So what that says to me is that this movie-making thing is an avenue for me to still be creative into my 50s and 60s and 70s. Till the day that I die, I get to be creative for a living. So I am taking it very seriously, and it's something that I hope to do and I hope to be good at, by the grace of God, for a very long time. I have a scholarship fund called the I Am Capable Scholarship Fund, and what it does is help deserving kids go to school. So you finish secondary school, you probably got good grades, but you don't quite have the funds to go to a private university or to, pursue what you want to do, and what we try to do is assist with that. So we've put a couple of kids through private university now. We've also done partial scholarships for people who want to study things differently outside of the country. I went to a private university in America mostly on a combination of scholarships and loans. And I would never have been able to go to that kind of school if I didn't have that opportunity. So I'd always said to myself that the day that I became successful enough and the day that I could afford it, I would send other people's children to school as well, because somebody did that for me.
What did they make me shine every day? Now Baba upgrade me, I elevate, I elevate, I elevate. Enemies surround me, them don't they? Them nothing touch me, covered by grace. Now Baba upgrade me, I celebrate. I thank you, cause you keep on blessing me.
My honest opinion about Nigerian youth is that, I mean, the word that comes to mind is just potential. There's just so much potential in Nigerian youth. There's so much talent, so much passion, so much that could be so great. But the question always remains, do we ever convert that potential into something real, into results? And that's still the question mark over Nigerian youth today, is are we going to get there? I mean, I hope we do, and I hope to be a part of it, but we'll see. If I could do one thing to fix Nigeria, I would fix power. I mean, there are a lot of other things that need fixing, but I think if you fixed power, you would fix a lot of other things in one fell swoop. So style is an expression of who you are and your state of mind and how you want to be perceived. 3 things that can impede one's journey to success. Not believing in yourself, not believing in God, and giving up too soon. Yeah, fashion-wise, anything you're comfortable with, man. Don't pay attention to no trend. Wear what you like. That's how I feel. That's what I do. My personal philosophy of life is this. 80% of achieving anything is just believing enough in it and in yourself to keep going, even when it seems like you shouldn't. And then the second thing that I go by is the best way to predict your future is to create it. God never gives you everything, but he gives you enough to start and he gives you enough to take the next step.
Ooh, they call me Banky W. I don't mean to trouble you. Da da da. What do you mean I can't sing? Not to worry, I have no intention of leaving my day job. Gosh, I can't believe we've come to the end of another edition of this show. It's true, time does fly when you're having fun, but not to worry, I'm going to be back real soon. Now, you know what to do. Hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, send us an email, visit our website, tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you, and we will be excited to respond. Now, I'm going to be here pretty soon with another exciting edition of this show. Until then, look after yourself, and let's be kind to one another. Goodbye.